we're back again to have a conversation. How have you been? If this is the first time you're pressing play, my name is Amma. Some call me MFA, others call me Tinker, others call me Tinkerbell, MEM, Mummy, whichever name you call me, Doris. I mean, look, it means I have a relationship with you somewhat, and it depends on where we met, but welcome once again to my podcast. Let's have a conversation on how to be supportive to victims of domestic abuse. So how has your week been? My week has been great. I tried as much as possible to kind of do something for myself every day, invest in my mental and self-love, because my mind has to be top-notch and I've got to love myself enough to be able to pour it out. And then I worked on my relationship with God as well. He's my source, he's my plug. So that's what I got up to. I don't know what you have been up to. Let me know. By the way, what are some of the things that you do for self-love? Hook me up. A girl needs to expand her horizon on this self-love-ish because it makes you feel great. So yeah. But today, I want us to talk about how to support victims of domestic abuse, when these issues come to light. So, look, no matter how it is, definitely, you know someone who is going through abuse, You definitely know someone who is going through abuse. And a lot of people get confused, as to how to help. But there's no perfect formula, there's no perfect formula. And all that I think the most important thing for me is being present. Being present and not too far removed from the situation. So being present is one of the most important things. Not trying to be an expert. You don't need to be an expert, but be there for them. So how do you meet someone? How do you support them in the moment when they need, help? So if you are responding as a friend or a family member, you have to listen without judgment. Remember, if someone comes to you and they confide in you, because it is look, getting up to speak about abuse is not easy. So when someone gets up and actually comes to tell you, it means they trust you and they need to tell someone. Now, listening without judgment or blame or letting them know that they are not alone can make a huge difference in how they heal and progress, depending on whatever situation that they want to take, Now, if a victim or survivor is in need of support, you'll have to ask them if they want to speak to a professional counselor or a therapist. It's important that they speak to someone because you can pray with them, you can talk to them, but the triggers will come back. So I will always advocate for therapy, like hands up for it, every single minute of the day, every single second of the day. You ask me, someone who's been through this and is experiencing and dealing with the trauma and the fallout from it, therapy for me. Any day, plus any other thing that they will do, therapy is key. So sometimes you don't even need words or many words to be there for someone. Many people just being able to share and tell their story to someone else, lessens the weight of the isolation, secrecy, self-blame. Listening alone can make a huge difference in someone's life. Let them know that you believe them. By letting the victim know that you believe them, you can change their life forever. Because first of all, they are in a lot of self-doubt. They are asking if they are to blame for their abuse. They've been gaslit so many times because they are checking themselves completely. Look, sometimes people don't understand, but something as simple as entering a store to make a purchase. A purchase after you've been abused can be so difficult. Something as simple as deciding on what kind of meal to have can be so difficult. So if these functions that we take for granted and we go through them normally is difficult for them, imagine how much more other things are difficult for them to do. So if you let them know that you believe them and you give them some reassurance that it wasn't their fault, it can go a long way to make them feel comfortable and getting the help they need and deserve. So you can communicate gently. Nothing you ever did or could have done differently makes this your fault. The responsibility is on the abuser. No one has the right to hurt you. It doesn't matter if you did A or B. No one has to hurt you. For instance, abusers will say, oh, they are talking to their friends. Oh, they are having an affair. Oh, they disrespected me. If that's the case, address the issue, not abuse the person. And most of the time, abusers are lying because they need a justification for their actions. You see, they know that their actions are wrong, but it's about control. So they are always trying to justify their actions. I promise you didn't ask for this. Let them know. No one has a right to hurt you. No one deserves abuse or violence. Statements or questions that focus on what a victim did or didn't do by their actions or inactions kind of indicates that the survivor is responsible instead of the abuser, and that they did something to let the abuser do the things that they did. The only person who should bear the blame for violence, abuse, whether emotional, verbal, technological, financial, is the abuser. Although this sounds like a simple idea, educating yourself about the common myths about domestic abuse and can offer informed and a compassionate support to make a huge difference. So don't just say, but why should they do this? There's two sides to a story. Can we hear the side of the story? No, it doesn't work like that. You should be able to ask what more you can do to help them. If they are desperate and they need help and you can't provide the support, there are outfits and organizations that provide support. There are other survivors who provide support to other people also, so that they can grow out of it. Because look, if you walk the path, you understand where a victim might be coming from and you can feel and bear the pain. A lot of people get upset about domestic abuse, they empathize, they can't imagine it, but just imagine telling your story to someone who's walked that path and has dealt with everything that you are dealing with. They know exactly what to say to you. They might even sometimes say the statement before you even say it. Communities, priceless. So find communities for them. I will put the national helpline on Conversations with Amma page, so you can check it out to see where they can go to for help. Support their decisions. Look, this point in their life can be very difficult. It can be quite tempting to try to fix things or solve a problem immediately. But by listening and allowing a survivor to make decisions for him or herself and assuring them that their decisions are supported, you can make a huge impact in that survivor's life. So it is critical for a victim or survivor to regain their sense of control and agency. Like I said, things as basic to you as even what to wear, where to go, entering a shop and making a choice, picking between item A and B. Trust me, it can be extremely overwhelming and ridden with anxiety. But when you support their decisions and you help them kind of regain their self-confidence back, it makes it easy for them and they go back to being who they were before the abuse kind of made them lose themselves. So If a victim wants to talk, try to be an open listener. If they prefer not to talk, then try to be supportive in other ways, such as letting them know that you care about them and you are willing to listen at a later time. Balance their safety with their wishes about confidentiality. Always respect the victim or survivor's confidentiality. Don't tell others about their experience without explicit permission and consent. However, the only time I will say that you can break that code is if you know or you believe they're in immediate danger. Call the police. Get help for them. But otherwise, don't go repeating their pain and stories to other people. Finally, encourage them to reach out to, like I said, community support systems, a therapist, a counselor, places where they can get the requisite help. Mind you, I said not all counselors, not all therapists can give you the much. So do your investigations before you choose who to speak with. Now, if you're also supporting someone who's in domestic abuse, trust me, it can also be overwhelming. So you yourself need to take care of yourself, and you need to, so you don't feel overwhelmed. If the survivor or victim is a man, trust me, it is the same thing. They both contend with socially imposed or internalized messages that create barriers to helping heal from domestic violence or abuse. Common response for anyone experiencing is like feelings of self-blame, fear of not being believed, and it makes it difficult. So just try as much as possible to be supportive and to encourage them. Remember, be there as a friend. Be present. Be present. It's important for you to be present. Hear them, listen, don't pass judgment, provide the much needed support that you can, and just make sure that they are in a good space. If you can take some of the victims off of them, their burdens off of them, help them. Now, one of the things that abusers need is make time to listen to them. Listen without judgment. Learn the warning signs, physical signs of what abuse is. Believe the victim. I talk about what you to look out for. Validate their feelings. Sometimes they stay out of a fear of harm. If they leave, they still love their partner and believe they will change. Hope is a drag, Their partner has promised to change. A strong belief that marriage is for better or for worse. Thinking that the abuse is their fault. Staying for the children. Lack of self-confidence. Fear of isolation or loneliness. Pressure from family, community, or church. Lack of a means, job, money, transportation to survive on their own. Look, sometimes even when they have those things and they leave, the abuser tends to leave the entire burden on them. So if you can help them with accommodation, if you can help them by picking up the kids from school so they can hold down a job, if you can help them by giving them an extra job that they can do at night so that they can shore up their finances, whatever you can do to help, because that is the support system that will help them kind of mitigate after a few years. And it can't take more, it will take more than a year for them to get back to, because one parent has left the brood, So offer specific support, check on them, make sure that they are okay and all of that. So sometimes in Ghana, I don't know if there's a system that helps victims to access loans or low-cost housing for them to even move in with their children, So encourage them to talk to someone, the therapists. Continue to offer help. Be there for them, because it's not an easy journey, So I got a survivor's handbook from a group in the UK. It's planned. If you need a survivor's handbook, you can contact me. I will send you one. Because it's not an easy path. It's not an easy path. It's not an easy path. And then when somebody survives domestic abuse and they are taking a stand to help and educate others, people feel like, oh, they might probably be embittered. So understand this: when you go through something and the goal is healing and the goal is to help, you can't help but to educate. You can't help but to educate, because you've been through everything that there is. It was meant to kill you, it was meant to break you down, but you're a survivor. So together we can end domestic violence and abuse by advocating, by educating, by supporting survivors. And trust me, you don't need to be an expert, just be a friend. You don't need to have a degree in psychology or psychotherapy, just be a friend. Just be a shoulder that they can lean on. Just be a shoulder that they can lean on. Don't bash the abuser. Focus on the behavior, not the personality. Don't blame the victim. Don't underestimate the potential danger for the victim and even yourself. Because an abuser might pass on the smear campaign to anyone else who tries to help the victim, because they need to break down their entire support system so they can regain control of the victim. Do you get what I mean? So don't give conditional support. No, don't do it. Don't do anything that might provoke the abuser. Don't pressurize the victim. Don't give up on the victim, because once you do, you give them a sense of abandonment, and that's it. You give them a sense of abandonment, and that's it. So validate them, understand them, and try as much as possible to be there for them. And the thing is, domestic violence affects women, and they have a significantly higher risk of experiencing a range of mental and health conditions, including PSTD. Like we've talked about it so many times. So even though on the surface they might look like they are okay, there's a big issue. I believe that officers, workforces can be a bit more empathetic towards victims of domestic abuse, because listen, trust me, the things that are going on in their brain is not a joke. So provide them. It has to be holistic. The support system has to be holistic. And there's this thing about people not talking about what they are going through, so people bear the burdens all alone. So don't make somebody's issue your gossip. If you can help. If you feel like it's too much for you and you need to escalate it, ask them that, look, this thing is something that we need to take it up. And not, do you think I can speak to? Don't just take matters into your hand and break their confidence. I don't mean their confidence in person, but I mean telling their business to someone else, So, yes. Support victims. Together we can end domestic violence. Be present, understand, speak to them. Always try to be there for them as much as possible. If you can help in any way to make their life easy, please do not hesitate to do it, because it takes a village. Trust me, it takes a village. Reassure them nobody deserves it. Nobody deserves abuse. Nobody. So please be supportive. And don't ask questions that make it look like you think that they are at fault. Okay? What I'll say to you is, you don't need to be an expert. You just need to be a friend. Be present. Hold space for them. Love them. Don't give them conditions. So that's it. Until then, I'll leave you to ponder on these things. Be present. Don't give them conditions. Love them. Be a support system. Don't give up on them. If you are overwhelmed, you also should seek help. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for pressing play. I love you. For those of you who share the podcast, who send me messages, who ask and who passed on to their friends. sometimes I look at the listenership and I'm like, wow. And the suggestions, the ideas, thank you. Like, I can see how much you want this to go beyond just this podcast. And I love every one of the ideas. I love the suggestions. I'm taking them on board. I'm listening, and then watch out for more. And as usual, remember to share with someone. You never know who you might be helping. People are suffering quietly, but this podcast can help them, can comfort them, can let them know that they are not alone, and can be a trigger for them to reach out for help, because sometimes the mind is numbed. So please share it with the men, share it with the women, share with everyone. That's the goal, to educate, to advocate, for people to know the science, understand what to do and how to go about it. Because it looks like a lot of people don't know how to react when they are presented with cases of domestic abuse. And your reaction can save a life or make someone lose their life. It can be lose their life literally by death, or lose themselves so much that they can't focus on anything. So please, educate people, advocate for people, stand up for people, and be present for them. I love you. Have an amazing week, and thank you for listening. My name, as always, is Amma. You can call me MFA, you can call me Doris, you can call me Tinkerbell. I'm your fairy godmother, as always. You can call me Tinker. Thank you for listening, and have an awesome and amazing weekend. Love you.